two greats in the last era. It's gonna be big.
What does it do to your two legacies?
Sometimes people talk shit a lot, and when they stay in the ring, they do nothing.
You know, a win against Canelo Alvarez put me, you know, on Mount Rushmore.
I know I have two losses. A fighter never think about lose.
He's significantly bigger than anyone you fought before, and he's one of the all-time greats. You're not going to feel apprehensive when you get in that ring against him?
Fear? No.
I will for you, and I'm not even you.
That's cool.
But can you accept he's better than you at anything or not?
No, because he ain't proven it yet.
We're gonna find out September 13th. That's why we are here, to see who's the best.
We're gonna give the fans a show for sure, because it don't take a big punch.
The stage is set, and training camps have wrapped up, as the boxing world eagerly awaits what many are calling the fight of the century. Terence Crawford is determined to disrupt Canelo Alvarez's legacy. As anticipation builds, boxing experts are weighing in with their final predictions. One of them, Datwan Young, is offering a grounded perspective on the Canelo vs. Crawford clash. He's not holding back on his concerns. After witnessing William Skull's recent performance, some fans began to question how Crawford would handle moving up to 168 pounds. But Datwan isn't convinced that comparison holds. In his view, Skull and Crawford are completely different fighters. Skull's physical attributes, his size, reach, and presence, aren't directly comparable to Crawford's. And there's another factor. Crawford is 37 years old and making a major leap across weight divisions, which is no easy feat.
I feel like that didn't change my outlook at all, because you gotta think the size and reach and everything that William Skull has is way different from Terence Crawford's. William Skull is a lot bigger guy. Terence Crawford, with him being 37 years old, he's not moving around like that, and he still has to move up all that weight. We don't know how his body is going to feel at 168, if he's going to be slower, if it's, because you know, like when you spar and stuff, heavy rounds and stuff, like you holding your arm.
Still, despite his concerns, Datwan is standing by Crawford, not just out of belief, but out of brotherhood. Yet he's honest about his nerves. He doesn't want to see Crawford walk into something he may not be built for. Datwan isn't doubting Crawford's ability to win. He's simply emphasizing that the strategy will need to be entirely different this time. He's fully locked in, watching closely, because for the first time in Crawford's career, there's a genuine sense of uncertainty hanging in the air.
Wear you down after a while and all that weight. It's just like, I don't know. I'm going for Crawford because, I mean, brothers gotta stick with brothers, but it's kind of like, I don't know. I'm really nervous for that fight, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to see my boy get bashed around because he's too little.
On the other hand, Datwan Young gave credit to Skull's game plan, even though he admits it seemed like Skull was hesitant to take risks. Skull landed some clean shots, stayed cautious, and used his size to his advantage. But Crawford doesn't have that same physical edge. He can't afford to sit back and rely on jabs from the outside for 12 rounds. That's not his style. And that's exactly where things start to get complicated.
It's hard that they're over 35 years old both, and I remember I fought Chavez when he was 32 and he was 99-1 and people thought he was over the hill. So,
have you changed your pick for that fight, Oscar, based on how Canelo looked against Skull?
Yeah, it's hard to say. It's hard to say because Canelo, you know, obviously he walks on quicksand. We saw it against Skull once again. Crawford is very, you know, he's not one-dimensional. He can move, he can box, he can, you know, I don't know how hard he hits to keep Canelo away from him, but, you know, I think it's going to be very interesting. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Adding to the conversation, Troy Ely, who has sparred with Terence Crawford, is issuing a clear warning to Canelo. Don't be misled by the weight difference. According to Ely, Crawford's skill, speed, and ring IQ more than compensate for any size disadvantage. That size isn't anything, he says, and coming from someone who's experienced Crawford's power and precision firsthand, that statement holds serious weight. Ely's message is straightforward. Canelo better. Be ready because Crawford isn't just moving up in weight, he's chasing greatness.
Skull kind of had, I respect his game plan, but it kind of looked like he didn't really want no trouble, but he was picking some little decent shots and everything like that, but with him being a bigger guy, like, you know what I'm saying, Crawford is just not that big. So he ain't gonna be able to stay on the outside and run all day like that. Like, I don't think Crawford gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna be that the fight is not gonna take that complexion with Crawford and Canelo.
Decision to stoppage.
I hope not. I hope not. You know what I'm saying? I really don't know. I hope not, but if my boy pull it off, man, I'm gonna be proud of him, but I don't know. I'm still on the fence.
Adding even more intrigue to the upcoming showdown, Karen Davis, one of the few who's shared the ring with both Canelo and Crawford, is offering an honest take on what to expect this September. He believes the fight will ultimately come down to preparation and in-fight adjustments, especially for Crawford, who may have been walking around at a higher weight, but now faces the challenge of performing at a full 168 pounds. Davis gives Crawford full credit for his elite training and championship pedigree, but when it comes to choosing a winner, he leans ever so slightly toward Canelo.
My boy Terence gonna be ready. You see the size, ain't nothing. My boy Terence gonna be ready. We gonna be locked in. It's a it's a big fight. And my boy Terence gonna take care of business, and he ready for it.
How do you think? You got a prediction? Obviously, you think he's gonna win. Do you think you'll stop him?
I gotta see it. My prediction is Terence will win. However, I gotta see it.
Still, Davis points out a critical factor. Canelo has been competing at super middleweight for years, and making the jump across multiple weight classes is no small feat. He's not counting Crawford out by any means. In fact, he believes if anyone can make that kind of leap successfully, it's Crawford. Davis anticipates a high-level chess match in the ring, but ultimately gives the slight edge to Canelo, largely due to his natural size and experience at 168.
Have you been in there with Crawford?
Yeah.
So you've been in there with Crawford, you've been there with Canelo. What can you take from sparring both of them to gauge what's gonna happen in September?
Preparation is gonna definitely be everything. Crawford adjusting to the 168 pound division. I know he's been sitting at a heavier weight for a while, but he's been showing his training and stuff. So that's definitely gonna help him. Canelo experience. But then you got Crawford he got great experience as well. It's gonna be a great fight. It's gonna be a good chess match. I expect a great.
Adding to the growing anticipation surrounding boxing's biggest upcoming bout, fighter Kelvin Davis isn't just backing Terence Crawford, he's predicting domination. After watching Canelo's most recent performance, Davis felt the Mexican, star didn't look sharp. Based on what he's personally witnessed in sparring, Davis believes Crawford has every tool necessary to take control of the fight and make a major statement.
Favor somebody, I would just pick Canelo because of the weight disparity. Canelo is naturally sits really well at 168, and it's just always tough for a guy to come to 168 and come from that many weight classes up and do something like that. If he does it, if anybody can do it, it'll be Terence Crawford.
In Davis's eyes, Crawford is simply the more complete fighter. The only real advantage Canelo holds, he says, is size, and Davis doesn't believe that will matter much. He's seen Crawford handle bigger opponents and isn't convinced the weight gap is as significant as people think. In fact, he takes it a step further. Davis believes Crawford has what it takes to shut down Canelo's trademark late fight pressure and prevent him from breaking him down with accumulation over the rounds.
He ain't looked too good this past weekend. I'm Team Crawford, so I got Crawford all the way. I got Crawford beating up Canelo, actually, especially after what I just seen. Canelo just got better overall skills. The only thing Canelo has over Bud is the size. So once Bud neutralizes his power and his size, I think he's going to take off that night and have a...
What truly sets Crawford apart, according to Davis, is his relentless competitiveness. No matter what you throw at him, jabs, power shots, footwork, Crawford responds with more. He's constantly looking to outdo his opponent in every exchange. That mindset, Davis says, is what elevates Crawford beyond just talent and makes him a truly special fighter.
I just seen him size up, and actually I don't think it's going to be that much of a factor. So within Canelo performance he just had and them two just sizing up, I definitely got Terence all the way for sure.
Do you think he can stop him?
Yes, I actually think he can stop Canelo. A cumulative of punches, breaking them down throughout the rounds and just getting a late round stop.
Meanwhile, American boxer Carmel Motain is fully backing Terence Crawford, and he's making a brutal prediction. Motain doesn't just see Crawford beating Canelo, he believes Crawford will dismantle him. According to Motain, Canelo is slowing down and still struggles to cut off the ring effectively, a weakness Crawford will exploit without mercy. Crawford's skill and ring intelligence will neutralize Canelo's power, wearing him down round after round until it's lights out. Motain warns, Crawford is coming to dominate and Canelo is facing the toughest fight of his career.
Terence, he's just a competitor. If I'm trying to jab, he's gonna try to out-jab me. If I'm throwing a left hand, he's just gonna try to outdo everything I'm doing. So his best attribute is his competitiveness. You know what I'm saying? So he's an all-around fighter. I can't just single out one specific thing. So he's just a competitive, tough.
Furthermore, legendary Hall of Famer Ray Leonard has thrown his full support behind Terence Crawford ahead of the monumental clash with Canelo Alvarez. While he acknowledges Canelo's size advantage, Leonard reminded fans that size isn't everything in boxing. Drawing from his own legendary career, he emphasized that smart strategy and ring IQ can overcome any physical difference. With Leonard's backing, Crawford's confidence is bolstered more than ever. This fight promises to be more than just a battle of power. It's a high-stakes chess match where brains and skill could make all the difference.
I change my mind about this every time I think about it. I think either Canelo will be too big and Crawford's coming up too high, or Crawford's just going to pick him to pieces. And I think the latter, to be honest. I think Crawford will pick him to pieces. I think his boxing IQ, we've seen it before with even boxers like Caleb Plant that have just picked around Canelo for 10 rounds, then just got caught. Crawford won't get caught in the end, I don't think. So I think Crawford beats him on points, and I think it'll make it quite boring actually. I think it'll make the fight quite boring.
Kell Brooks views the upcoming Canelo versus Crawford fight as a major, thrilling showdown between two elite fighters. However, based on his own experience moving up in weight to face Gennady Golovkin, Brooks firmly favors Canelo. He understands firsthand how challenging it is to step into a higher weight class and take on an opponent who is naturally bigger and stronger.
How Crawford do you think can bridge the weight gap, or like with you, what did bridge the weight gap? Because a lot of people are just saying, hey, Canelo's just too big for someone like Terence.
That's true, but you know what? There's always a way. Put it that there's always a way. There's always a way to.
What's more, Brooks believes that while Crawford is incredibly skilled and dominant at welterweight, facing someone like Canelo, who has proven himself against elite competition at middleweight and super middleweight, is an entirely different challenge. Brooks stresses that size, power, and physicality at that level cannot be underestimated. In his view, Crawford would need to be nearly flawless to overcome those disadvantages. That's why Brooks ultimately leans toward Canelo to win the fight.
You know, it's a wow fight, you know what I mean? It's two supreme athletes fighting against each other, but you've got to sway towards Canelo. Crawford's gonna have to, move up, and I knew when I boxed Golovkin, there's a big difference, especially with someone that, fighting a middleweight, a mediocre world champion's okay, but when you're fighting someone like, Canelo or Golovkin, it's a different kettle of fish, I have to lean towards Canelo.
Furthermore, Kell Brook acknowledges Crawford as a top-tier, sharp, and intelligent fighter, arguably pound-for-pound number one, but questions whether Crawford has the movement needed to outbox someone like Canelo. He notes that Crawford isn't as slick or evasive as Floyd Mayweather, who famously defeated a much younger Canelo. Today's Canelo is bigger, stronger, smarter, and far more experienced. While Brook respects both fighters, he believes Canelo's size, power, and ring generalship give him the clear edge in this matchup.
When we look back at Mayweather when he beat Canelo, he's a mover. Crawford's not really like Mayweather in that aspect. He's more, he kind of sets his feet. And he's just his cue with how he approaches chucking shots and moving. You know what I mean? I think it's a different fight to Mayweather, and Canelo's obviously a different fighter from when he boxed Mayweather.
According to Spence, Crawford's relentless mindset, elite adaptability, and cold-blooded killer instinct could be the X factor that dismantles Canelo. While many focus on Canelo's size and experience, Spence is betting on Crawford's ability to flip the script. He believes Bud has what it takes to break down even the biggest names, regardless of weight class.
Both unbelievable fighters, but I'd have to favour Canelo. Just his size and his experience and just his ring generalship, you know, he's got confidence, he's big, he's strong. You know, Crawford's more of a smaller guy, sharp fighter, you know, he's number one as well, you know. But like I said, in my opinion, I've got to lean towards Crawford.
The boxing world is buzzing with excitement over the biggest fight on the horizon. Adding to the conversation, Teofimo Lopez shared his honest and thoughtful prediction for the potential Crawford versus Canelo showdown. With respect, realism, and genuine admiration, Lopez acknowledged the monumental challenge Crawford faces stepping into the ring with a powerhouse like Canelo, calling it a true test of toughness.